Hey everybody, this is Aaron Whitehead. Welcome to Learn to Play the Piano. This is lesson 4 in a series of short lessons. In this video, we'll learn about chord inversions. In our last lesson, we learned about chords and we came across certain chords that we had to use inversion. Inversions are the same 3 notes of a chord, just arranged in a different way. So in order for us to understand inversions, let's take a look at the C chord. Remember, the C chord is made up of the notes C, E, and G. So we're going to look at the span of about 2 octaves on the keyboard here, and let's pick out all the C's, E's, and G's that we see. Now technically speaking, this is all a C chord. However, due to the limited number of fingers on our hand, we can only play a certain amount of these notes at a time. So often when we play a chord, we'll simply play the 3 notes which make up the chord. In this case, that would be C, E, and G. Now let's look at all the different ways we can arrange these 3 notes in the span of about 2 octaves. We'll start at the bottom with the notes C, E, and G. This is a C major chord and is in root position. It's called a root position chord because the C is at the bottom, similar to the roots of a tree at the bottom of the chord. Now if we were to take that bottom note and move it up to the top, we would have E, G, and C. This is a first inversion C major chord. The E is at the bottom, the C is at the top. One way to remember the name of this chord inversion is to imagine it's a race to the end of the keyboard to the right, and the C is in first place, so this is called a first inversion chord. Now if you look at the graphic, you see that it says C over E, or C-E. That's telling you that it's a C major chord with the E note at the bottom or in the bass. Now if we take the bottom note of this chord, the E, and move it to the top, we have G at the bottom, C in the middle, and E at the top. This is a second inversion C major chord. And as before in our example of the race, C is in second place now, and that's why this is called a second inversion chord. And again, by looking at the graphic, you see it says C/G, C over G. That means that it's a C major chord with a G in the bass or at the bottom. Now you'll notice if we take that G and put it at the top again, we come back to a C root position chord. And just because we have room, if we were to take that C now and go up one more time, we have again a C first inversion chord. And this is where we get inversions. The 3 notes that make up a chord occur many times throughout the keyboard. And so if we were to choose combinations of those 3 notes, they make inversions or root position chords. Knowing inversions is important when we start to play chord progressions and we're moving from one chord to another, because when we know the inversions, we're able to choose the position that's closest to the position we're currently in. So it makes it easier to move from one chord to another, and that's why inversions are good to know. With that understanding, now let's look at one more chord. The next chord in the C major scale would be D minor. So let's look at the D minor chord. As we begin, let's look at the notes of the D minor chord as they occur across the keyboard. So the notes of the D minor chord are D, F, and A. And we'll pick out those 3 notes as they occur ascending up the keyboard within a span of 2 octaves. As we play the first 3 notes of the chord D, F, A, we get a D minor root position chord. Notice the symbol for this chord is a D with a lowercase m. The lowercase m represents minor. Major chords don't have any sort of a symbol. They're just simply the letter name, an uppercase letter for whatever chord it is. We'll spend our next lesson, lesson 5, discussing major and minor chords. Now if we take this D from the root position and we move it up above, this gives us a D minor first inversion chord. Notice the symbol D minor / F, or D minor over F, tells us that the F is in the bottom or the bass. Now moving up from here, if we take that F and we put it at the top, we get a second inversion chord with the A on the bottom, the D in the middle, and the F up top. Notice the symbol D minor over A. And we have room to go up one more time. Let's take that A and put it on the top, and that brings us back to our D root position chord. And we hope you enjoyed lesson number 4. All this information and more is available in our book, a piano chord book you can actually use, which can be purchased from our website, thepianochordbook.com. And please check out lesson number 5, where we will discuss major and minor chords. Thanks, God bless, and see you next time.